Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time is about the time that someone stole 15 grand from me. Yeah, you're probably like, Austin, how'd you manage to mess up this bad? Well, I'm gonna tell you about it today, alright? So this story time takes place back in 2017. I had just recently moved into a new house, and in my room, under my bed, I had a safe. Now, in that safe, at all times, I usually keep money and other important documents that I might need one day. Now, usually I would keep anywhere between $5,000 and $15,000 in this safe. And you're probably wondering, Austin, that is so stupid. Why do you have so much physical money in one area? Well, to be completely honest, it was in a pretty big safe that was pretty damn hard to move. So I assumed I'd be fine. And also, because of what I do for a living, on the internet and stuff, sometimes trolls will come at me and try and hack my stuff. So I thought, maybe one day my bank account might get messed with and I might need physical cash to live for a bit. Because it wouldn't be the first time. I've had issues with my bank before where I get fraud alerts and my accounts would get completely frozen for days sometimes. And, when your accounts are frozen, you can't swipe your debit or credit card, you're done for the time being. So anyway, yeah, I thought it'd be a good idea to keep some cash in my room. That way, if I ever needed to give any to my parents or to a friend or just to myself, if my accounts ever got frozen again, I would have it. Didn't think anything of it, alright? Now, the first few months of living there, I'd have countless friends over, I'd have people over all the time, sometimes they'd bring their friends over, and nobody ever knew about that money under my bed, because it was in a safe, and I never told anybody about it. Also, I never told anybody anything relating to, the passcode to the safe whatsoever, so I was really never worried about someone stealing from it, because it was near impossible. Well, sadly, that all changed one day, okay? Because one night, I decided to throw a little bit of a party. I had 10, 15 people over, pretty close friends of mine. A few of them brought some of their friends. So, in total, it was somewhere around 15 and 20, somewhere around there. But it wasn't some huge out-of-control party whatsoever. It was really, really chill, actually. But sadly, I made a pretty big mistake. I didn't have a time where this party would end, basically. It went on pretty much all night. Everyone was at my house till 5 in the morning. And at 4 in the morning, I fell asleep. And I was one of the first people to fall asleep. It was me and two others. And we all passed out in the living room. So I left my room unoccupied. And also I didn't lock the door like I usually would. Which means anybody could go in there and pretty much look for anything they want. So fast forward, I wake up at 11 a.m. on my couch. Two of my friends are on the floor passed out. And my house is trashed, to say the least. I woke up, I saw the cups and all the garbage everywhere. And I was like, damn. So I get up, I grab a garbage bag, I start throwing stuff out, cleaning up. My two friends wake up because they hear me. And them being good friends, they got up, they grabbed garbage bags as well, and started cleaning up with me. And my one friend was like, yo, Austin, go relax, we got this, bro. I'm like, thank you so much, homie. So I decide that I'm going to take a shower. So I walk over to my room to grab some clean clothes, and I open the door, and then it hits me. I'm like, this has been unlocked all night with all these people in my house, some of which I don't know that well. So I quickly walk into my room and I immediately check my closet to make sure none of my shoes or my clothes got stolen, which to my surprise, nothing did. And then I look under my bed. And that's when things hit me. I was like, oh no. My safe that had pretty much every important document about me in it, as well as $15,000, was missing. Completely gone. Now that safe was heavy as hell. It took me two people to get that thing into my house and under my bed. So I was really, really confused at how someone took it out from my room and got it to their car without either anybody noticing or without help whatsoever. So I start panicking, obviously, because I just got robbed, and I call one of my friends who helped me move the safe under my bed when I first moved in. He was the only person whatsoever. He only knew about it because he was there when I bought it, and he helped me move it under my bed. Like I said, me and him moved it. It took two people, but he never knew what was inside of it. I never told him what I'd be putting in it, and he's been a friend of mine for years, so I really didn't think he would steal from me. I was just calling him to see if he knew who might have taken it, because he was at the party last night. So I call him up, I'm like, yo, someone stole my safe. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, man, and I'm not calling you to accuse you of anything. I don't think you took it. I'm just calling to ask because you were here last night. Did you see anybody last night go into my room at all after I fell asleep? I passed out almost before everybody. And he's like, nah, man, I didn't see anyone go in your room. I left right after you passed out. I'm like, shit. He's like, I'll help you, man, in any way that I can. Just let me know and I'll help you. So he came over, and me and him just start going through all of the people that were at the party last night. Even the people that we didn't know that well, that were friends of friends. And we started calling everyone. We're like, yo, some stuff got stolen last night. Would you know who could have done it? And nobody had answers whatsoever. Until we called one of my friends, let's just call him Jake, okay? I call Jake. I'm like, yo, dude, someone took something from my room last night. I'm not going to say what it was, but it was big and heavy. Do you know who could have taken it? And he's like, honestly, man, I think I might. And I'm like, awesome. Please come over. He's like, I'll be right there. So he pulls up and he starts telling me about how he brought 2 people last night. One of them was his cousin, who he's close with, who would never steal anything, and his cousin's friend. He brought his cousin, and his cousin brought a friend who he didn't know whatsoever. He just brought him over because he trusted his cousin's judgment and didn't think that one of his cousin's friends could steal something. So I asked him, I'm like, how old is this dude? He's like, bro, probably no older than 17. I'm like, are you serious? There was someone that was 17 or younger at that party last night? He's like, yeah. I'm like, why would you not tell me about this? He's like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm stupid. I'm like, it's fine, dude. Just please don't do that again. He's like, yeah, it's all good. I'm like, all right, man. How do you know that he might have stolen something? And he was like, dude, well, the weird thing is he was supposed to come back with me and my cousin back to my cousin's house and stay the night there with us. But he randomly just disappeared from the party and told my cousin he got a ride home from someone else. So when he said that, I pretty much knew that this kid probably stole it. But I was still shocked. I was like, how could he have done it? Like, literally everybody was out in the open. Like, how could he get a safe out from under my bed and out through the front door without anybody noticing? And my friend was like, well, there was at one point everybody upstairs while you guys were asleep on the couch, and you guys were like the only ones downstairs. That's probably when he got it. Because my room was on the downstairs level with the living room. So I was like, shit, that probably is when he got it. And we pretty much just assumed, like, yeah, this is probably the dude that stole it. So then I asked my friend, I'm like, yo, do you know where this dude lives? Like, how can we find him? And my friend was like, well, actually, I picked him up yesterday after my cousin, so I know where he lives at. We can just go there. I'm like, all right, perfect, let's do that. So we get in my friend's car. We go and pick up his cousin first because his cousin knew this dude, and, it'd just be helpful to have him with us. And we go to this kid's house. And we get there, we knock on the door, and this kid's mom answers, this random lady. And she's like, what's up? Like, what are you guys doing here? And my friend's cousin, who knew him, takes over. He's like, hey, so there was a party last night at Austin's. I brought him with us, and he was supposed to come back to my house after the party, but he randomly just disappeared, and I texted him, and he said that he got a ride home from someone else, which is really weird because he told me he'd be staying at my house that night. And then this morning, Austin noticed that a really expensive item from his room went missing. And she's like, oh no. And it's almost like she knew that her son was guilty, because I guess he had just stolen stuff from people before, and she knew about it. So anyway, after she said that, I'm like, look, it was a black safe. Did he come home last night with anything like that? Like, did you see anything? And she's like, no, I was in bed. I heard the door open. I heard him come in, but he left this morning. I'll check his room if you'd like. I'm like, that'd be great. And she goes, yeah, of course. Come in. Like, you can come with me. So me and this woman walk upstairs into her son's room. She opens the door, and there's just a big square-shaped thing with a blanket over it in the middle of the room, which was so funny to me. Like, didn't try and hide it at all. I ripped the blanket off, and can you guess what it is? Yeah, it's my black safe, just sitting there in the middle of his room with scuff marks on it. I'm guessing he was trying to hit it with something. And I'm like, yep, that's it. And this woman bursts into tears, like just starts crying to me. She's like, please don't press charges on my son. Like, I'm trying to get him help. Like, he's in programs. Like, please, please, please don't. Like, I'm begging you. He's only 16. And I didn't know that part. I thought he was 17, which isn't that different. But, it's still crazy to know that he was even younger than that. But yeah, his mom went on to tell me that he's battling a bunch of issues, from getting in trouble all the time for stealing stuff to drug use and all these problems that he dealt with. And even though I was pissed as hell that he stole from me, I did sympathize with him a little bit, because obviously no one deserves to go through drug addiction and all that stuff. So anyway, I talked to her for a little bit. I asked her to just help me bring this downstairs. She does. My friends get it in our car. We drive it back to my house. We drive back to her house. We talk to her a little bit more about the whole situation. I tell her the whole story and how he got there that night and just everything. And we wait for him. And like an hour later, this kid gets home and he is shocked when he sees all of us in his kitchen. And he's like super freaked out. So his mom sits him down, makes him give up his phone, everything to do with technology basically, and then tells him that he is grounded and on lockdown forever. Like, no joke, word for word, she said, you are grounded and on lockdown forever. And then she told him that she's taking him to this place for a week, and I don't want to say the name of the place because it'll give away like a lot of personal information, but it's this place nearby that is pretty much meant for delinquent kids. It's pretty much jail before jail for kids. Like, it's not a fun place to go at that age at all. Like, whether you're 12 or whether you're 17, like, it's not a fun place to be. So after that, we talked for a little bit. I asked him how he got it out of my house, and he told me that he straight up just picked that thing up by himself and ran out the door. Now that made me feel pretty weak because it took me 2 people to move this thing to my house and down those stairs with that mom. But, whatever. I guess it just proved I needed to work out a little bit more. But yeah, after we talked for like a whole hour, he ended up saying sorry to me and he apologized. And his mom immediately called that place I was talking about, that like center to send bad kids to. And they set up a whole week long like course for him to go and stay there. But yeah, I told his mom I wouldn't get the police involved and press charges because, first of all, she was like the sweetest lady ever. And I could tell she was trying to do the right thing at all times with him. And plus, he was 16, which means, 16-year-olds sometimes do really dumb things. I was definitely one of those kids. I still am sometimes. But I'm not by any means justifying theft. There's no excuse to steal stuff at all. Like, I was pissed, regardless. I was really mad, and I really wanted to get the police involved. But at the same time, I saw this kid's mom, and, like, she was crying, and it was just, I knew she was trying to do the right thing, so I wanted to let her do the right thing. So yeah, the next day, he had to go to this program and stay at this place for a whole week and work one-on-one with all these different life coaches and just try and turn things around. And he did, actually. I actually became pretty close friends with her and him. Like, I would just check in on them and stuff and see how they were doing after all this happened. And he was doing a lot better since all that stuff happened. And he had, like, signed up for sports and got his grades up in school and was working with a counselor outside of school. And he just basically turned things around, which was really good to hear because sometimes kids aren't that lucky. But yeah, guys, moral of the story is, please don't steal from people ever. That's never okay. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the end of the story time. In the end, everything was okay. Everyone was all good. And yeah, it was definitely a long, dramatic story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace. Waste my life, I can't.